So now that you've done a lot of brainstorming for different kinds of search terms, you can use another really powerful type of search called the advanced search, where you combine some of these terms. So for example, if you wanted to look for racism and economic aspects, you can use the Boolean operator capital A and D. I've also used another little hint here, economic aspects in quotation marks. And quotation marks, what that does is it's going to search for an exact phrase. It's going to find exactly these words together, not just racial and bias in separate areas. Okay, so you could find racism and economic aspects. You could also use or if you wanted to find a wider pool of results. So you could find racism or racial discrimination. And again, I've used the quotes here for that phrase. You could also limit it. So if you were finding too many things about slavery when you were searching for racism, you could do racism not slavery. So then you'd find only things that had to do with racism without also mentioning slavery. Okay, and you notice here I've used another little trick, and that is called truncation. You can use an asterisk to truncate or cut off the end of a word and search for multiple forms of that word. So example, discrim with an asterisk will find discrimination, discriminatory, discriminate, etc. That's a nice way to make sure you're catching everything possible when you're searching. So when I'm doing an advanced search in Gale, I'm going to click right here where it says advanced, and I'm going to do just what we said. We're going to combine terms, we're going to combine strategy. So I will do just what we said. I'm going to start with racism and the phrase racial discrimination, and I'm going to put that in quotes. I'm going to let it do that for me. And I'm also going to try the slavery with the truncation, that wild card there, and I'm going to say not slavery, okay? Sometimes when you put lots of things in at the beginning, you end up not getting any results, so you might have to revise it. Actually, this time I still have pretty close to 3,000 results here. So that's great, but I still might want to narrow it. So I'm going to go back, just hit the back on my browser, and they're still there, and I'm going to change racism from a keyword search to a subject search. Okay, and we'll see what that does. So remember, the subject is what the article is about. The keyword is just finding words that are found in an article. And what you see is that cut it way down. We're just over 1,000 results now. And so you see that when you change to a subject search, you're going to get fewer results because they have that label as being about it. Okay, so that's great. Now what if I still wanted to narrow it even further? Because there's no way I can go through all of those. So you can look at some of these options down here. You could check peer-reviewed journals. That's particularly good in your science topics. But a great one to think about is also the date. So if I wanted to do just the things in the last, year or so, I'm going to do just since 2003. If you wanted to say, I don't want any particular types of documents. I don't want any advertisements, okay? One that I like to put in here for I don't want this kind of thing is I do not like book reviews, okay? Sometimes they're just reviewing a book. I don't really want that, okay? So I'm going to search again and see if we can get that number down. And voila, awesome, I'm below 300 now. I'm still not going to read them all, but it's going to be a lot easier to scan through them. So things worked out really well for me that time, but it's not always like that when you're searching. Sometimes you put in what seem like great words and you don't get what you want. So for example, if I did racism and hair, like before when I saw that article about natural hair, maybe I'd try racism as a subject, and I want something about the phrase natural hair. I put it in quotes like a good little searcher. I click search, and oh no, I got nothing, okay? That doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It just means that you might need to try broadening your search or experimenting with different terms. So instead of looking for this specific phrase, how about I just try hair, okay? Notice I didn't get something, so I'm going to go more broad. And this time I search, and I've got some things. I've got plenty of things, actually, so that's a good revision. So you see, it's really just a challenge to, it's kind of like a puzzle. You have to experiment with all these different pieces, all these different options to get it to come out right. It can be frustrating, but once you get the hang of it, I think you're going to do just fine. Good luck searching.